structure of an S&L is flawed. An S&L takes your demand deposit, which you can take out almost at any time, and makes long-term fixed mortgages. And if the rates on interest that it has to pay you go up, it can't adjust these mortgages. So the very nature of the business, the way Congress set up the S&L industry years and years ago in the 30s, is fundamentally flawed. And it was fine as long as we were in a relatively stable environment of stable interest rates and relatively low inflation. But as Jerry said, as soon as inflation started moving up, that pulled interest rates up, then the industry was bound to come apart.
Iowa Park, Texas. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Brian.
Morning.
Brian, I have a question. If your guests had heard the report yesterday on CNBC about the administration's plans to relax restrictions or regulation on the antitrust laws, and how all of that might tie in with what we've been talking about, and then a comment, if you would.
Hold on just a second. Let me just ask if anybody knows what you're talking about. Jerry?
I think the call is referring to administration wanting to relax antitrust strictures on investment ventures that are for international competitive purposes. It realizes that overseas there are conglomerates and there are monopolies overseas that are competing with U.S. companies that are operating under strict antitrust rules that their foreign competitors are not. And it sees an inequity there. And the focus of antitrust thinking and competitiveness is that we no longer have a discrete national economy in which we have to promote competitiveness. We have a global economy that is so integrated that we cannot afford to let governmental policies overseas disadvantage our companies here.
Your comment, caller?
Well, I don't know if it ties in, but and also I heard that Senator Metzenbaum was going to be looking at this very closely, by the way. But that it seems to me, you talk about economics, and there was an economist back in the 30s, Mordecai Ezekiel, and he gave a statement in front of a luncheon in front of NBC. Anyway, he ended up his lecture with the fact that what he believed, that if business continues to take profit out of all proportion to wages being equitably paid across the board to workers, then disaster was sure to follow. And it seems to me it brings back the idea that you get what you project. If you project peace, love, prosperity, you're going to get it. If you project war, hate, and desperation, you're going to get that. And the government and the president should keep that in mind.
I'll let that stand. We'll go to Durham, North Carolina. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.